Welcome to the Lounge Lizards podcast. It's so good to have you here. It's a leisure and lifestyle podcast founded on our love of premium cigars, as well as whiskey, travel, food, work, and whatever else we feel like getting into. My name is Gizmo. Tonight I'm joined by Rooster, Senator, Pagoda, and Bam Bam. On our plan is to smoke a cigar, drink some cognac, talk about life, and of course, have some laughs. So take this as your 94th official invitation to join us and become a card-carrying lounge lizard. Plan to meet us here once a week. We're going to smoke a Cuban cigar tonight, share our thoughts on it, and give you our formal lizard rating. We debate the value of Cuban regional editions. We review Habanos cigar pricing strategy 1 year later, and a few lizards recount an all-time prank on Rooster, all among a variety of other things for the next 90 minutes. So sit back, get your favorite drink, light up a cigar, and enjoy as we pair Courvoisier VSOP cognac with the San Cristóbal de la Habana Harimau Malaya Edición Regional, Malaysia. Montesco tonight on the pod from San Cristóbal de la Habana. It's called the Harimau Malaya. It's a 55 ring gauge cigar by 5 1/8 inches long. It's a regional edition, and it's the second San Cristóbal we've done on the podcast, Bam.
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember what the other one was?
I don't want to remember.
The famous La Punta.
Oh, I know.
And hopefully it's not the case with this one, but we're going to try it tonight here, boys.
This is a big boy tonight.
It is 55 ring gauge cigar. We've been moving away from the Lanceros and the Lonsdales a little bit, bigger ring gauge stuff, and I thought this was an accessible regional edition out of Cuba that we could do. So here we are tonight with this one.
Yeah,
So
it's a good looking cigar.
all right, let's cut this thing, boys. See, we're getting on the cold draw on the wrapper. Interesting little cigar. Yeah.
Some fruit.
Fruity.
I get a little milk chocolate on the cold draw.
Yep.
Hope it tastes as good as this draw.
I love the wrapper.
Yeah, it's a beautiful wrapper, actually. Mine's a little darker. I think mine's one of the darker ones out of this box. For some reason, despite them being color matched, I feel like I got one of the darker ones out of it.
Yeah.
I don't know if you noticed that, but they weren't terribly, like they weren't.
That is really dark.
They
now that I'm
weren't really
noticing it.
color matched in the box.
Look at that.
And that was the first I opened it since I got them.
Wow.
Yeah.
Could be a fake box. Careful,
You know what?
No,
It very well could be.
You actually want to find those anomalies in those boxes.
But not
You
the
do.
color matching is
Yeah.
usually a sign that the box may not be legit.
That
so.
cigar was rolled in Pete's backyard.
All right, boys, let's light this thing. The San Cristóbal de la Habana Harimau Malaya Edición Regional out of Malaysia. Again, it's a Montesco, a larger Robusto. It's a 55 ring gauge cigar by 5 1/8 inches long. Comes in a beautiful 10 count box. I would say similar to what listeners would expect out of a 10 count box of Partagas D-Force.
Yep.
And then it comes in a really nice outer cardboard box that's decorated really fancy.
It's
But
a nice presentation.
it is.
Well, you wouldn't expect anything less for a regional.
You'd hope, right?
That's overpriced and expensive.
Well, not all regionals come out with that outer box.
No, that's true.
This ornate.
Some regionals have come in cardboard boxes, I think.
Yeah.
right?
That's true.
The King Henry. I know there's a couple that we have. The Sir Henry, excuse
Sir
me.
Henry.
Yeah, there's a bunch that just come in the old, cardboard boxes.
This is nice on the light.
Yeah, it's not a lot there. I'm getting like a tingle on the front of my mouth, but it's not like a twangy thing. It's just a tingle.
Yeah, the aroma is nice. I mean,
It
the
is,
smoke smells really nice, but not getting a whole lot.
So this regional edition was announced in 2020. This specific box we're smoking is 2 years old. It came out of La Corona factory in Havana. Its code is RAT August 21. And they made 8,888 of these boxes. I would assume they're still making them. And the reason why I wanted to do these tonight, guys, is I found, and I think Rooster the same, these seem to be one of the more accessible regionals that have ever been released. That I felt like I got 2 boxes, Rooster got a box. It's not like we were really trying that hard.
Have you tried this before?
No, I've
Yeah.
never. I
I
haven't.
have.
I haven't
You have.
opened this.
Of course you have.
But you tried it young though, Rooster, right?
Yeah, the day I got it.
Oh, yeah. You like the sample. That's
That was
true.
really young.
I do too, honestly.
Was
Well, I
anybody
mean-
wondering why they released 8,888 boxes?
I'm assuming it's a lucky number in Malaysia.
That's
Right.
how many
in-
tigers
in
there are
China.
in Malaysia.
In
Oh, in
China.
China.
Ah,
Yeah.
Okay.
8 is a
Oh,
very lucky
yeah.
number in
Is
China.
that right?
Ah.
Yeah, I wonder whether these were made for the Malaysian market or just East Asian market and all.
Well, I think I got mine from FOH, Friends of Habanos, out of Friends of El Habano, excuse me, out of Australia, and their distributor from Habanos is Pacific Cigar Company (PCC) out of
Sure.
Hong Kong.
Yep.
So I think that's why he was able to get so many of them. Is to your point, Pagoda. I think it's definitely serving the Eastern Asia, the Asian market there.
And just to clarify for the listeners, when we talk about regionals, in this particular case, we're talking about the regional where they're making cigars for the distributor of that particular region.
Exactly. So Edición Regionales exists to give a little bit of a boost on a yearly basis, every couple of years, let's say. Each market will get a special cigar that's designated for them. You can get Mexican regionals, Irish regionals, UK regionals. There's a Cuban regional. There's Hong Kong. There's all the markets around the world. There's a Canadian regional. All the markets around the world that sell Habanos on a regular basis are often served with some sort of regional edition to kind of augment, give them a little excitement, some press to talk about.
Yeah.
I wonder why they have a Cuban regional.
And boost sales.
They do have a Cuban regional. Yeah,
I've seen it.
Yeah, it's interesting, right?
That's strange.
Yeah.
Did you know anything about regionals and the size being important to a regional that's made?
No.
Okay, so I'm just reading this. This is interesting. It's basically saying, so in 2005, they introduced this whole regional concept, and everything Gizmo said obviously explains the intent behind it. But what's interesting is that Habanos S.A. Gave their regional distributors special sizes that aren't part of the respective brand's regular production lineup.
Yeah.
In some cases, like the Bolivar Gold Medals, Habanos S.A. gave specific distributors sizes that had been discontinued, but most are sizes that have never been available for that brand prior.
Interesting.
That
I
is
never
interesting.
knew that.
No, that's new.
And then
New
it
for
says
us.
there's one major exception to that rule, and that's the most famous, the Edmundo Dantes El Conde 109, which is an ER available from Mexico.
Yep.
That is related to the Monte Cristo brand, but is largely its own brand.
So Edmundo Dantes was founded for and by a gentleman named Max Gutman. And Max Gutman was the guy who invented the concept of the La Casa del Habano stores, which are another level above the Habano specialists for HSA retailers around the world. And I guess for his many, many years of service, Edmundo Dante is actually an extension of Monte Cristo, but it has its own similar band on it, its own market just for him.
Yeah.
They pretty much invented it for him.
We've heard about that cigar.
Yeah.
It's got a big story.
Yeah. People love that 109.
Yeah.
And I don't remember when that was released. I don't know if it was 2009 or something, Senator. But that 109 is very, 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 very sought after and very hard to find. Like, people are obsessed with that. And I think if you look at what was released at the Habanos Festival this year, that entire Partagas Linea line, all of them have the 109 shaped cap on them.
Yeah, which I like a lot.
Which I do too.
It's very cool.
And that also goes back to the Lusitania used to have a 109 head on it.
Really?
In the 70s. Yeah, they changed it, I think, in the 80s or 90s.
Wow.
The old Lusitanias actually had 109 heads on it.
Interesting.
And that's, I think, so that's part of the reason also why they gave the Partagas Lineas 109
I mean,
heads.
I wonder why there's such an attraction towards that 109. Because once you cut it, it's flat anyway.
Yeah, kind of.
So
you don't want to take.
what's the advantage or disadvantage?
I like the mouthfeel of a 109
I
because it's
agree.
in between a typical Parejo kind of shape, or a flat kind of head that you'd get. Let's compare Lusitania, right? You look at a normal Robusto, or this cigar compared to a pyramid, a torpedo type shape. The 109's right in. It's kind of right in between that with a
Yeah,
rounded
it's like
top.
It's a blunted pyramid top.
It's
Exactly.
or like a rounded
Ramon
Robusto.
has a 109. Ramon Alones.
Yep.
Yeah.
But to Rooster's point, I mean, none of these things make like all that much of a difference once the cigar is cut.
It's true.
Yeah, it's fun.
I do love the 109 shape. I always have.
Yeah, I think wasn't in Cuba when somebody mentioned that the reason they try and do that is so that there's some concentration of flavor which comes through when you're lighting it up.
They mentioned that. I remember that conversation. I guess there's some merit to that, maybe.
Yeah,
That's
and
true.
I think it's the same. I would think with
And
the
the pyramid.
torpedo, especially if
yeah,
you take the pyramid. If you just take a little bit off and you're getting enough draw, then that flavor is definitely going to be concentrated into a smaller,
Aperture.
a smaller.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, what are you guys thinking of the cigar so far?
Oh,
I'm not getting a lot of flavor. That's a surprising thing. I can't really even pull out any notes. I'm just getting smoke.
It's lacking character, but it's not offensive.
It's
Correct.
not.
It's not
a
offensive.
bad cigar.
No.
It's not as bad as the La Punta, I would say, but
No,
there's not much here.
That cigar, that El Punto, you want to throw that at your worst enemy. Lit.
But the
Didn't
only
you
thing
bury those in your garden, Bam?
I did, and it ruined my vegetables.
He says lit.
It did.
I mean, this is not a cheap cigar. I mean, we paid like $30 a stick, and now
Yeah.
they're going for about
Yeah, what did you-
they're going for 55.
It's
I
crazy.
saw Half Wheel reviewed this. It says they paid $55 a stick for
When did they
this.
review it?
2021.
Wow.
I have a question. How long has this Vitola been around? This particular regional?
This
yeah.
release was
Yeah.
it was announced in 2020. They usually come out about a year later.
21.
Oh,
So
it's a
this came out
young-
late
So
21.
no one knows the history. There's no history on it. There's
No.
no aging characteristics that are known about it.
Not yet.
So who
No.
knows what's this going to turn into?
Who knows? But right now it's
Yeah, it's like white bread.
salty white bread.
It's not offensive, but serviceable.
So not much to talk about as far as San Cristobal de la Habana history. It was founded in 1999. It's the newest brand that Habanos has, the newest marca. I think that's probably the most interesting fact about it. The other being that the name San Cristobal de la Habana was the original name of the city of Havana.
Here's a thing. So when we were in the La Corona factory, this band in a larger scale was proudly displayed in the conference room.
Yeah.
And you see that around Havana a lot, this particular design of this band.
And I would say it
It's
was
celebrated.
very
It seems to be
similar to
celebrated.
very similar to Coaba at Corona.
Yeah.
Coaba is so celebrated
Dude.
there.
And who smokes that?
And we
know.
talked to them about that. You look at Coaba, they have some cigars that people love. We haven't done one on the pod
No.
yet. We're going to, but
Yeah.
that's not a global brand.
No.
That's
It's
not a
not.
Monte Cristo.
I mean, I'm not trying to be overly mean about this, but
Well, you can be an elitist. Go ahead.
I mean, I think most of the tourists there, they're buying Partagas, they're buying Bolivar, they're buying Upman,
It's
they're buying
true.
Cohiba, and what's probably left is Coaba,
Maybe.
San Cristobal. It's probably the easiest stuff to get your hands on there.
So I've had Coaba. I bought a box of Distinguidos.
Did you think it was a Cohiba?
The cheaper version.
The much cheaper version.
It was okay. It didn't really leave a memorable mark.
So let's talk about the line San Cristobal has right now.
Yeah, I was
have a-
curious how many Vitolas they have.
Yeah, so they have a few regular production cigars right now. They have the El Principe, which is a Petite Corona. They have the La Fuerza, a Gordito Robusta Extra. They have a La Punta, which is a Pyramid Campañas we did
That has a nickname.
on the podcast.
It's called the Nightmare.
The Nightmare. And they also have a regular production, what they call Habanos Specialist release called the Torian, which comes in a ceramic jar of 25 cigars. The jar, really, really nice looking jar that comes in. And finally, an LCDH release called the Prado, which is a petite pyramid, 5-inch pyramid with 50 ring gauge. And then they have a few discontinued production cigars. They've only been around since 1999, like we talked about. And then there are so many special, limited, regional edition, and LCDH cigars, which is primarily, I think, what Habanos is using this marca for.
Are there other marcas that they use for regional release?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's very similar to La Gloria Cubana,
Okay.
even Ramon Iones, Bolivar.
Yeah,
as
they all have
Rooster
regionals,
mentioned.
don't they? Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
they hammer
man.
this.
San Cristobal's the only one that gets regionals.
No, I guess I should rephrase the question. So this one is used prolifically, right? So there's
There's a
many-
lot.
Are there other markers that they designate to release the primary number of regionals?
A whole bunch.
Yeah, a whole bunch. I mean, there's a lot of markets. I mean, right now, just right now,
Just like Upman, Cohiba,
No, I know they all have
they
it.
no,
Yeah.
they don't.
they don't.
Oh,
The-
I'm
the
sorry.
global
Smaller-
brands don't.
smaller
Global-
brands.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Partagas, they don't. It's the
So they reserve it for this type of
The smaller brands.
smaller brands.
So right now in the hopper, they have 4 cigars that have been announced as regional editions and Habanos collection series and other things that they haven't even shown them what they look like yet. So there's 4 right now in the hopper coming out of San Cristobal de la Habana. for regionals and other things. So that's what this brand is for in their eyes. You know, certainly the regular production stuff's not a home run yet. And as far as, like I said, as far as San Cristobal goes, there's not a lot of history there to go over. It's only 25 years old.
Are there other San Cristobal cigars that you guys have tried?
Yeah, the El Principe and the Prado.
You've had the Prado?
Yeah.
I like that size, the short torpedo.
It's a
Is it
short
good?
torpedo. Yeah,
Is it good?
it's okay.
How
I
are-
like
how
the
are
El
each?
Principe a little bit better. It's got more flavor.
That one's talked about a lot. I'm thinking
Yeah.
that's probably the most well-known San Cristobal.
Yeah, it's a small stick. I forget what size it is, but it's kind of like a Corona.
I'm actually looking at it. It's a Minutos. It's 42 ring gauge by
Yeah,
4
like a
and 3/8
Corona.
inches. Petite Corona.
Petite Corona. But it's a good stick. It's got a lot of flavor. Yeah, I mean, it's compared to this, it's got a lot. So
This has got a lot of smoke.
It does. Good smoke output.
The smoke output is probably the best part of this so far.
Beautifully made cigar too.
Are you guys getting anything right now?
Not much.
Yeah.
tobacco.
It's a pleasant tobacco, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
It's
honestly,
not offensive.
This
I
right
mean,
now, this just reminds me of like a mild morning smoke.
Yeah, big time.
But
I
with
feel
not
like
a
a
lot
cup of
flavor.
coffee would overpower it.
It's true. There's not a whole lot here.
Iced coffee.
Iced coffee would overpower this.
Yeah, but I mean, I just can't. For $30 a stick, you want more out of a stick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
And if Senator's saying that they're at 40 or 50 now,
yeah,
a year and a half later, I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah. We've talked about this a lot, how, I don't know. I'm not going to say that we frown upon regionals, but we love the standard production cigars so much, and they're so incredibly made. This is just a lot of hype.
Yeah, it's just it's mild. It's okay if a cigar is mild,
Not even
but a
this,
mild with some flavor.
not just
you know?
this regional, but a lot of regionals that we've
Well,
smoked.
that's the thing. You said we don't
Yeah.
frown upon. I make no apologies for this. I have always frowned upon
Yeah, I agree.
regionals.
Agreed.
Years ago, Giz and I would even debate this about
I was trying to be nice,
regionals
by the way.
versus
Plymouth.
no, but I have to say it. I mean, we used to debate regionals versus limitadas at the
Yeah.
time. Gizmo preferred, he thought regionals were better quality. I thought limitadas were better quality.
Mhm.
And I think my issue with regionals, number one, the fact that they're released from the smaller brands that I don't prefer or smoke more than I do the larger ones, that already makes them less interesting to me. And then number two, they're young and fresh. And I'd rather have a limitada with some age. It's not tremendously aged when these first come out, but some age than something this young from a brand that I don't particularly love. I just feel like, and then you look at these, some of them, not all, but like how ornate this box is.
Oh,
it's like
it's
they're
hype.
trying too hard
Yeah,
to
it's a
make
marketing
this look-
gimmick.
It's
Yeah.
hype,
Yeah.
and they're overpriced.
And people chase, and I know I did too. I mean, double bands, and it's so.
Well, the connoisseur corner's got to try it all.
So you mentioned the packaging, Senator. So as I mentioned, this comes in a 10-count box, very similar to the D4, and it has a pretty ornate outer cardboard box with a little magnet flip top lid.
It's in black.
And it
black
tells the
cardboard.
story of the Harimau is the Malaysian word for tiger. Malaya is the Malaysian language. So it's the Malaya tiger is what this represents. And there's a whole story about how this is one of the smaller breeds of tigers in the world. And they tell this whole story inside the packaging of how this tiger kind of rules the kingdom a little bit. But it's a little guy. And then it tells, a sadder story, which is weird to see on the inside of a cigar box, about how humans have completely ravaged them. So that decision was a little odd. But
Oh yeah.
enjoy your cigar, by the
Yeah.
way.
I would have preferred the story of the lizard, but teach
Agreed.
their own.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
the Lagarto.
Yeah, we need a Lagarto.
We need a. You know what? When we go back to Havana,
You'll
We
file
need
a
to
memo.
make it happen.
Yeah.
yeah, we're gonna put Senator on the
The
case.
silver tongue will
I'm in.
unleash
I'm in.
his
I'm in.
rage.
Get a regional edition.
One of the factories is going to listen and do it.
Yeah, we have to have somebody do it. We need a lizard regional.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got to
Yeah.
just flex your influence.
Yeah.
Come on, do it.
What's the shirt with the?
Oh, Lacoste.
Oh yeah. Well,
That's an alligator, though.
Is it?
It's an
It
alligator.
is.
Oh, I thought
Yeah.
it was a lizard.
you're
No,
right,
no,
you're
it's an
right.
alligator.
That's
Yeah,
true.
You're right.
That's
It's
true.
it's
All right.
an
Well, we need a
alligator.
lizard regional, so we're gonna work on that. All right, boys. You want to talk about our pairing tonight?
Yes.
Pass the
complete-
Courvoisier, baby.
dude,
Pass it.
it's delicious.
Especially when you're smoking this. It's the complete opposite. It's
Yeah,
full flavor.
Yeah.
I'm very, very much looking forward to trying this.
Dip the whole thing in it.
Or rub it out.
Might get something. Get some flavor that way.
So the funny thing is, Giz was talking about how San Cristobal is the youngest of the Cuban brands. Courvoisier is actually the youngest of the big four cognac houses, those being, and I'm actually very excited. This now completes the big four.
That's cool.
Oh,
We've
yeah, this
done-
was the last
That's
one,
cool.
right?
Oh, yeah.
Very cool.
We started the journey with Remy. We then did Hennessy, then Martel, and now Courvoisier. So they do have that in common. Now, the irony in cognac, this stuff was all started a long time ago. Young being 1828,
Not to interrupt you.
not quite 1999 like San Cristobal.
We did the Hein as well, that cognac. Where does that rank?
That's a smaller producer.
It is, right?
This is
Okay.
like the big global,
gotcha,
like
gotcha.
they're everywhere.
Got it. Yeah.
And that's why even for us, honestly, Hein is very hard to find.
Yeah.
It's not readily available everywhere.
No,
And it's just the smaller production.
Actually, I went into a
a
couple
shame.
stores in the last few weeks. They no
Yeah,
mention of
tough to
Hein, but of
find.
course they had this
Sure.
alongside all the others.
For sure. So some other interesting stuff about Courvoisier. They actually first started, this guy, Emmanuel Courvoisier, who founded it. They started as a wine producer
Mm.
and then moved into the cognac business. What it's most famous for, and it even says right on the bottle, if you look at the label, Courvoisier in big letters, and then it says the cognac of Napoleon. It's
Ah.
Napoleon Bonaparte's favorite cognac.
Mm-hmm.
He apparently visited them in the early 1800s, left with a bunch of barrels of their cognac, and just raved about it. And it just sort of, this nickname got coined that has stuck all these years later.
So
I'd
not
like to-
bottles, eh? I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. Go ahead.
No,
Case
he took
barrels.
barrels.
Case-
Yeah, barrels.
barrels. I'd like to know, did Napoleon actually pay for it, or did he just walk in as a dictator?
He
and
just
want
took it.
Yeah.
Just take it home.
I think that's a safe bet.
Oh, yeah.
I wish I could do that.
I know.
Just roll into Macallan. I'm going to take a couple barrels of your Macallan, please.
You're not-
Or
you're not
the
a dictator.
Cohiba factory.
Or the Cohiba factory.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
That'd be great too.
I want to walk into, well,
I brought,
never mind.
I brought my own boxes.
And then the only other thing worth mentioning, the French, when they opened the Eiffel Tower in the late 1800s, they celebrated the opening with Courvoisier,
Cool.
Oh,
which
nice.
is cool.
That is cool.
So they changed the bottle.
They did. I'm glad you said that, Bam.
Yeah.
So my dad used to drink this years ago. I mean, I remember as a kid, like holidays, like my mom picking up a bottle of Courvoisier for him, and he'd obviously love to have pair this with a cigar. And it was like a blue and gold
was.
bottle,
And a little shorter.
shorter and
bit fatter?
Fatter, yeah.
My dad drank a lot of this as well.
It's good stuff.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Now here's a question: do you think they did that for practical reasons to make it easier to shelve it at the stores, like to take the wide mouth or the wide foot of the bottle to
It
Shrink
wasn't-
it up to make it a
wasn't
little more
that wide.
traditional?
It was just a bit fatter at the bottom.
It was like the Remy 1738 bottle.
yeah, a
it's
little
like-
fatter
okay,
than
okay,
that.
got
Yeah.
it.
But the thing is, honestly, I think that this wasn't. I really like how they've rebranded this. It even comes in a nice box.
It's
now,
a beautiful box.
which kind of reminds me of like a Paul Roger box, like the white with an accent color. I think they've classed this up a lot, and I think it needed it, and it's deserving. I don't think the other bottle looked bad, but it just didn't look.
It was very old school.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this looks refined, more
Mhm.
modern, clean. I actually really like what they did with it. And I will say this is drinking better than I remember it. I don't know if anything's changed, but I really like this.
I was just going to say this is an excellent. This is a VSOP, right?
Yep.
So that's for the listener. That's the mid grade. You have VS, VSOP, and XO. This is kind of closer to
Oh, 100%.
Remy 1738 in the flavor and quality
Yeah.
than it is to.
It drinks above its weight class.
It does.
Because it has viscosity and it's so satisfying.
I agree.
Price wise, about the same as
Good question.
Yeah, what is this?
1738.
That's a great question. It's very reasonable, but let me pull this up.
So I like your comment on viscosity, Bam.
Oh, it's there.
It is really.
It's rich.
I have no ice in mine. Do you guys have ice in
None of
yours?
us
No,
do. Yeah.
none.
No.
No, it's excellent.
It is. It is. And as you drink it, it gets better and better. Yeah.
Hmm.
I could do this with dessert after dinner and a cigar.
Yeah.
That
I
would
agree
be a
with that. I
tremendous,
agree.
tremendous experience.
And it's just another cognac in the line of cognacs that we've done, and I'm sure there's many more out there that it's really great for pairing with a cigar.
I'll be
It's
blunt.
a really nice experience with a cigar.
All this experimentation with the cognac, it has actually taken me away from my love of Scotch.
Yeah.
A little bit. I would almost gravitate more toward a cognac if I had my choice.
And I think the value, you look at the price of most cognac that
Yeah.
we've had, not the XOs. Let's put those aside.
Right.
I mean, compared to, let's say, a bottle of Macallan 12,
Mm-hmm.
Versus a VSOP or the 1738, you're saving quite a bit of money.
Yeah.
You guys ready for the price?
Oh, geez.
45.
I would say 38.
$48.
$60.
$45.99.
Wow.
No
Wow. That is insane. This is a must buy.
This might be the best value cognac we've had
Dude,
so far.
So this
must
is,
buy.
This is cheaper than the Heinz Rare. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
so,
Hein Rare is like 65.
Yeah. Yeah.
and Senator, you tried Heinz Rare yesterday. And remember you were doing the taste. Can you just elaborate a little bit on it in terms of viscosity and
Yeah,
into
so
the flavor
this
profile?
I love this because the Hein Rare is also a VSOP. This has more viscosity. The Hein Rare is lighter.
Yep.
This, Giz was talking about how, and Bam also said this kind of punches above its weight class. This, first of all, if you just look at the spirit in the bottle, it's very dark, very rich, which is usually what an XO looks like.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
The longer it ages, usually the darker it gets. And this has many XO qualities about it. The price point to me is outrageous because you think about Hein Rare, as Pagoda said, that's like $65 a bottle. You think of Remy 1738, which is like $65, $67 a bottle.
Yep.
I can't believe for $46, I'd put this right up there with both those bottles.
Absolutely.
This is the definitive statement. This is the best value cognac we've done so far.
I agree.
I think.
Thank you so
It
much,
is.
guys.
It's a fact.
I've got a new cognac to pursue.
It's really good, man.
Yeah. And going back to my comment about I'm not gravitating away from Scotch, but if I had my choice, I definitely would pick a cognac. This is like now at the top of the list, kind of. But I wouldn't have ever attempted to have a cognac. Why? Because my dad drank it.
Yeah.
I don't.
Wasn't cool.
Yeah, it wasn't cool. Old school. We've talked about this ad nauseum, but it's really an eye opener. How tremendous
really is.
this whole line of cognac experimentation is.
And to your point, Bam, I feel the same way. My Scotch consumption has decreased since
Same.
I've gotten into cognac.
Big time.
And the thing I really just appreciate about it, I just love that you can pour any of these good cognacs neat.
No ice.
And no ice,
Yep.
no burn, no harshness, just so satisfying and pairs incredibly with a cigar. And I feel like, almost all of the scotches that I like, it needs some ice or some water. They're just a fuller, more intense sometimes experience from just the alcohol there.
Yeah.
And there's just something so refined and laid back about a great glass of cognac that I really love.
I have a question. So his dad drinks it. My dad's passed away, but he had a lot of this in his time. Does Gizmo Senior partake in any?
So he actually has never been a cognac guy.
Okay.
I actually have turned him on to
You
cognac.
have?
Yeah, he does like brandy and some other after dinner drinks, but his main thing, like he just loves a Manhattan. He likes to make a Manhattan with Canadian Club, like that's his thing.
Well,
extra cherry
that's
juice.
Pagoda's thing.
Extra cherry juice. Like he has his whole routine. When he sits down at a bar or a restaurant, he dictates very clearly exactly what he wants.
Does he watch them make it?
Oh yeah, he's very, very determined on
Love
what he
it.
likes. However, he just had for Father's Day a couple months ago. He just had a birthday. I'm sending him stuff that he hasn't had before. I kind of stay away from Scotch with him. He's not a single malt guy, but the
sounds
cognac,
like his palate is sweeter.
It is.
Because you said he drinks brandy.
Exactly.
And so even of cognacs, and cognac is brandy, of cognacs, a sweeter cognac would appeal to him.
Yeah. He would love
this.
He would love this. I've sent him the 1738 and I sent him the Hennessy. I believe I sent him the XO.
Wow.
We did the Hennessy XO. That was the 10, right?
We did, I think so.
I think that was a 10.0.
Yeah, that very high marks on that.
We definitely did Remy XO.
Okay, whatever the 10.0 was. Okay,
then
so
that was Remy.
The Hennessy XO was a 9. I sent him the Remy XO for his birthday, and he loved that. So he's definitely getting turned on to that because I'm trying to get him away from having to mix these drinks. And like, just take the bottle and dump it and enjoy it. Like, we don't need to be running out to get cherry juice,
I'm out of cherry juice. Honey, I got to go.
You have no idea, dude. You have no idea. And he lives in rural Pennsylvania, so it's like 40 minutes each way to go to the store. So, but yeah, it's, to answer your question, he's definitely Definitely enjoy
Here's
it.
a question for you connoisseurs in the room. We have yet to do a brandy. Is a cognac considered to be superior to a brandy? And is there a different process of making it?
Yeah, so I mean, I think it's
I know
definitely perceived as
You
superior.
frown upon brandies, and I fucking know that.
Oh, this is
That's
the
why
thing.
I'm asking.
I think that brandies, number one, are very sweet, and I don't like anything overly sweet. I like something more balanced. So to me, cognac does a better job of producing a balanced spirit. It's like people always say, like, "Oh, you drink brandy, you're gonna have a horrible hangover because there's so much sugar." It's just a very sweet
I
drink.
think sherries are more sweeter than brandies. No,
No. Cherries are drier than brandy, and some cherries are actually super dry.
The most sweet spirit I know of is port. That's
that too.
Well, that's definitely a dessert drink.
That's like
Yeah.
it's a
syrupy
dessert wine.
sweetness.
What I love about a sherry, it's got a short, dry finish. It's very short. It's really quite nice.
Cherries drier,
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, it's different.
For sure.
But is there a superiority to cognac that brandy doesn't have?
I think, I mean, number one is just the sweet factor. And number two, I can't name you like a really famous, prominent brandy brand. And I just don't think that people are investing in producing top quality brandies like the way companies are investing in producing top quality cognacs. So I'm always open-minded. I mean, we've tried some crazy stuff on this podcast and found some gems. I'm very open to trying.
This is this to me is a call out to the listeners right now. If you have a brandy you love that you think we should review, send us an email because, we've done this with tequila, we've done this with, with cognac now. I'd love to go down another path and find some great spirits. So definitely email us. And
the path I'm thrilled we did go down that's in this family was Armagnac.
Oh yeah,
that was great.
Yeah, that was tremendous.
That was really good.
Absolutely. I'm glad I found that.
Yeah.
And honestly,
we got to do more of those.
Yeah, so I did have a brandy the other day.
Oh, that Spanish brandy.
Yeah, the Spanish brandy. I'm looking at trying to find the photograph because I haven't. Here we go. What is it? This is the Cardinal Mendoza brandy out of Spain.
Let's try it.
It was really quite tasty.
Really?
Yeah, very good.
What would you compare it to that we've done on the pod that I would know?
It's a little different than I think, and closer to the Armagnac, I think.
Really?
Yeah.
All right, that's promising.
Could be worth trying.
Yeah, let's try it.
Yeah.
Now, would you pair that with a Cuban cigar or a New World cigar?
Cuban all the way.
Yeah. Got it.
But see, that I'd be willing to try. Like, what just kills me with brandy, it's like apple brandy. Like, I don't want apple
Yeah, there's a
brandy.
lot of fruit flavored brandy.
No, that's disgusting.
If they name the fruit on it, I don't want it.
disgusting.
Yeah.
No, none of that.
So what are you guys thinking about the cigar so far? A little under halfway through.
Hasn't changed much.
No, but I'm not offended by it.
Unfortunately, yeah.
That's not offensive.
You know what it is it frustrates me. Let's put aside price. Let's sort of put aside all the hoopla about it. Like seeing this second band on it with this, the classic, Edición Regional, Exclusivo Malaysia. Seeing this band on there frustrates me that it's not giving me more. Knowing what we paid for it or what someone today would pay for it if they bought a single or a fiver or if they bought a box of 10. And it's just, I don't understand these blending and decisions that it's not worthy of the first band. It's certainly not worthy of the second.
That's true.
I agree.
It's just not worthy of it. Like,
have you retrohaled yet? On this
I
thing?
have. It's mediocre.
I capture a little bit of a hint of fruit that we got on the cold draw on a retrohale, but just a typical draw, it's pretty flat.
I think the retro is, most of the time you get a little bit more out of the retro on a mediocre cigar.
That's true.
I'm not getting much at all out of this. It's smoking fine.
Yeah.
The only thing I'll say, the first half was not offensive, but borderline for me.
Borderline
Particularly
offensive?
on the
Really?
light. Yes.
Yeah.
The light, I was just getting like a weird kind of astringent, like harsh taste.
You're being tough.
And then that smoothed out. But what I will say, the second half has like firmly settled into just like smooth, easygoing, not very flavorful, but like almost slightly pleasurable in the sense that like it's just a really, really easygoing smoke. I just want to get some flavor notes out of it. That's what's killing me.
It doesn't leave a mark. It's not memorable.
Like if this had some flavor, this could be a good cigar. Like
Because it's performing great.
That's the thing.
The burn line's sharp as hell.
Great performance.
I mean, the ash is nice. The smoke output's great.
Awesome.
There's just no flavor.
It's like you're on a date that you can't wait to end.
Yeah. It's like the conversation's going nowhere.
We've all been there.
It's just not nothing. You're not getting anything out of it, you know. There's no chance of a second date.
Tranquilo.
Rooster's got a lot on his mind today.
Speaking of Rooster, so I missed
Oh yeah.
an event.
You
so
didn't miss anything.
So for the listener,
it was a revelation.
This has been teed up for me.
I'm about to burst.
So for the listener, so we all the lizards got together, and unfortunately, I wasn't able to be there.
And it was a rather sad occasion.
It was a sad occasion,
Yeah.
but the 6 of the lizards were there. I was not, and I've gotten some very loose, confusing, sly reference notes about this lizard meeting, and I'm told there's a story.
Oh, there's a story.
And I need to hear this, and the listeners need to hear this.
Senator, you have the floor.
This is why we're here. So forget the cigar. Let's go.
I'll tell it because this was fun for me in that I kind of just got to watch this whole thing unfold, and thank God I was not part of orchestrating it. So we were at Pagoda's. I do kind of want to just mention the occasion because I think it's just a nice call out. Pagoda's mom unfortunately recently passed. May she rest in peace. And we had a great day.
Yeah, they're supporting Pagoda. Yeah,
Thank you, guys.
Yeah,
they're supporting Pagoda and remembering Pagoda's mother, who clearly is an amazing person. We've obviously been so lucky to get to know Pagoda over these last few years. And it was later into the evening, and at this point, I think it was kind of morning in the morning and in the afternoon, and then kind of just trying to celebrate her life and unwind late in the day. And Puba got there first of the lizards?
Yes.
Okay, so Puba was there first with Pagoda. I showed up next, and then Bam was there for his second shift of the day.
That's right. I was there earlier.
By the way, Rooster's
back.
already starting to boil.
And so
Look at his face.
I sit down and I go to light a cigar, pour myself a drink, and I just Puba and Pagoda are just cracking up.
Rooster showed up without any cigars.
I texted.
Right?
That's right.
I said, I don't have any. I'm coming from work. I
That's
don't have
right.
any cigars. Can somebody spot me one?
And of course, everyone said,
because
sure.
after the morning when I saw you, you were going to work.
Right.
And then after work, you were going right to Pagoda's.
That's right.
So you didn't go home to get cigars.
I mean, I didn't expect we were going to be hanging out.
Yeah. I understand. Okay.
And then Puba was the very first to respond when Rooster said, can anyone bring me a cigar? And he's like, I've got plenty of cigars. No problem. So I get there, and Puba and Pagoda are just clearly something is so funny. They're just laughing. They seem in this great mood. I'm like, what is going on? They're like, wait till we tell you what we have planned when Rooster gets here.
But here's the thing. I was observing. I didn't know what was going on. Senator, you knew much more than I did. But Puba looked like the cat that swallowed the mouse. Literally.
So true.
So true. He had a smile on his face from ear to ear, texting somebody. I don't know who. Maybe this guy to my right.
Pagoda.
It's so true. I couldn't even look at Puba during it. He was ready to just burst out laughing. It was
ridiculous.
And so I'm like, what is so funny? And Puba's like, all right, let me tell you what we've done. So he goes, you know how Rooster said he needed cigars? He's like, so I have plenty of cigars, but I was talking with Pagoda and we had this idea. And we went down into his tower and said, what's the worst cigar that's in here? What's the worst cigar that you have buried somewhere
By
in the
way,
back of this tower?
I'm just staring at Rooster. My eyes are not moving. I'm right on you, buddy.
I'm looking the other way.
I'm looking right at him.
I'm looking at Pagoda.
That's right. That's the triangle. Senator, continue.
Oh, gosh.
This is excellent.
And so apparently they found, what was the stick, Pagoda?
Zeno.
Oh,
It was a
geez.
Zeno.
That's right. It was a Zeno. So they found some
It was a
Zeno
Zeno
cigar.
Davidoff?
It was.
Oh, gosh.
But here's
That was
yeah.
a 54 ring gauge.
it was a
It was
perfect
a Toro
replica of that QD that he did.
of the QD54. So Puba had a QD54. He
Swapped
took
the
the
bands.
band off, put it on the
Yeah.
Zeno, and they're holding this cigar in front of me. They're like, look at this thing. And I'm looking at him like, the construction's not the best, but maybe it'll pass. Who
the
knows?
color was perfect.
The
I
color
thought.
was. I
Yeah.
agree with that.
Yeah.
I
And
couldn't
so-
tell.
Well, that indictment is coming down the road.
And so Rooster gets there, and Puba opens up his case. Oh, Rooster, I've got a cigar for you. It's a QD54 2018 aged. And Rooster's like, oh, great, good cigar.
Did Puba drop the code? Did he say MSU or anything like that, or was it just 2018?
Yeah, I think he's just said the year.
I think just the
He
year.
said 2018.
And
And
then
I had not smoked a lot of the QD. I mean, I smoked the 50
Yeah.
and the Coronas Claros,
Right,
but not
right.
a lot of the 54s.
Sure.
But
so next thing you know, Rooster's lighting this thing up.
That's
He's-
a good attempt at couching. Go ahead. By the way.
He's lighting this thing up. He's sitting there puffing away, and we're all looking like. I think the expectation was that he'd take a few puffs and be like, "What the hell am I smoking? This is not a QD." And he's puffing away. Next thing you know, he's like halfway through the cigar.
Loving it, by the way.
Puba, like
He was loving the cigar.
and Puba's just
it was better than this,
You know what? You're right.
wasn't it? I mean,
Yeah.
it was- how would
probably
you know?
true.
I don't know. Anything's better than this.
He was
right
in on it.
now. No.
And so I don't know, maybe 3/4 of the way through, 2/3 of the way through, finally everyone's kind of looking around, laughing, like, we got to tell. I mean, this is just bad. So Pagoda, I think, broke the news to him. About what-
Well, right at that point, right when you were gonna say that, the cigar started to split,
it did.
and
It
was
started
like
unraveling.
It was on the last
Oh,
third.
man.
It just started
Mm.
to split. I was like, something is not right. I mean, but that it could happen to any cigar.
Sure.
So
Yeah, sure.
I had no idea.
Especially, I mean,
That's
listen,
that's how bad my palate is. I can't tell.
Oh no! Don't break my heart.
So then, once Pagoda revealed what had actually happened, Rooster was already plotting his vengeance.
Oh yeah.
oh,
He was not pleased.
You know what it is? Rarely do we have anything on Rooster when it comes to his cigar prowess. Rarely ever.
Forgive but never forget.
That's right.
What? Oh my Lord! I've been nervous since that day.
Just make sure we're around when this happens. Whatever. it
when
is.
Rooster, by the way, when Rooster showed up tonight, Pagoda went to shake his hand, and Rooster squeezed his hand so hard that Pagoda's like, "Dude, you just crushed my hand." Like the payback is ongoing here.
Pagoda's been sleeping with the lights on ever since.
I really have.
So the retaliation is not limited to cigars, by the way.
Oh no!
You know the funny thing, when they broke the news to him, the first thing that you said, well, it's not that bad.
but then he
wasn't
proceeded to throw it down in the ashtray.
Immediately.
But it had already cracked by then. I was putting it down.
Good excuse.
so. It was-
Yeah,
It was a well executed prank. I have to give them that.
I mean, it's
Oh,
hard.
yeah.
It's hard to get Rooster, but that's a good.
Very
that's
hard
that's
to
a
get.
good one.
and
no,
then the funny thing that you missed was Puba and Pagoda going back and forth about who originated the idea. It wasn't me. No, it was you. No,
they
it wasn't.
were both backtracking. I mean, Pagoda is like, no, it was your idea. Puba is like, no, it was your idea.
we don't know whose it was, by the way.
I think it was probably Senator's idea.
It might have
Listen,
been.
it very well could have been.
I actually thought you hatched the scheme.
No,
Senator.
that's right. I was so thrilled that I got there late, which was not expected. I had a childcare issue. And I was thrilled once I did because I was like, oh boy, Rooster's not going to be happy about this. And I'm in the clear on this one this time.
Forget about the hour of atonement for him. He's got to go on a pip.
Yeah,
Lizard pip.
Lizard Pip.
But I'll tell you, the fun part was, going down to the tower and then
Picking the right cigar.
looking for cigars, and we were like, and Zeno happened to be the worst cigar I had over there, and we pull it up, and then we removed the band, but it was so difficult to put the QD 54 band on. It was just what an exercise it was, and we were laughing. We were like two giddy kids just having a lot of
yeah,
fun.
I mean, I must say the band wasn't loose. It didn't just like slide off. I mean, it was on there.
On
They
the-
worked it on there.
Well done
Yeah,
prank.
good job deceiving.
Yeah.
Their hands were all over that
It
cigar.
wasn't deceiving. Please don't say deceiving. It was just a prank.
Connoisseur corners
It
in
was
question
deceiving.
now.
Yes.
And
It
you
was-
can and
It
you,
was deceitful.
you can only remember you can only do it for to the people you love. So the fun pranks.
I love you so much.
You're going to know how much he
I'm
loves
in
you.
trouble. I'm in trouble.
I find it amazing. First off,
Uh-huh.
I didn't, you think about Cuban cigars and how they look, right? To think that a Zeno Davidoff,
Yeah.
which is what, a $6, $5 cigar?
Yes.
Is it?
Yeah, I
No.
mean, that's cheap.
Really?
Look how upset
Look how
Rooster is to hear that. Is it?
No.
I liked a $5 cigar.
There's a Davidoff that's $6.
It's a Zeno. Yeah, it's like their entry level budget line.
You were smoking that Zeno like you loved it, man. It was something
And
to
it's
see.
surprisingly,
we should do it on the pod.
Yeah.
honestly,
Actually,
I
Senator
think we have
mentioned
to.
that.
We
Yeah.
we have to
Yeah.
because number one, the fact that Rooster didn't find it offensive basically all the way through. Number two, I was watching him smoke it. It actually burned well. The ash looked great. I was very shocked. It was well constructed.
I would have given it to you.
Well, here's the good news. If we do it on the pod, that whole PIP review, we're going to be able to complete that with you, and we'll live this again.
Okay.
During the next recording.
Okay.
I don't want to live this again, please.
What's interesting though is that, you know, for as inexpensive that cigar is, I think it's pretty cheap. I mean, we'll have to look it up, but I mean, for it to perform that well, to it kind of be able to be masked as a Kai Dorsey number 54.
And people pursue that cigar.
I mean, you know what's funny though? I was just thinking about it.
They do.
We've never had a listener out of all the cigars listeners have suggested and we've done or that are in the hopper. We've never had a listener email asking for the Xeno line.
Yeah, interesting.
This is true. However, there is one member at our lounge that religiously smokes these.
I know who it is. Eric.
Yes, that's the only person I've ever met that smokes that cigar, and he likes them a lot. So
yeah, we should try them.
And clearly Rooster does too. So we ought
there's
to
a big
try
Xeno guy over here. Big Xeno guy.
Big time. Big time.
We got to get you a Z on your hat like Zorro.
You're in on this band too.
Can I just say how
by
happy
the way,
I
I am?
had nothing to do with
By
this.
the
What are
way,
you talking about?
Bam suggested he tried it before.
No, I did not. I haven't not had that cigar.
Can I just say how happy I am to be innocent of all of this?
I am as well.
It makes me very happy that you have nothing on me here.
What would you have done if you were there?
I'd be totally in on
He
it.
probably would have printed
So
a whole
just-
separate label.
Just because
a
of
second
that, you're guilty.
band. He would have printed a regional band to add to it.
I would.
You'll put an EL on it.
Yeah.
That's great, man. So you're a Xeno guy now. I'm proud of you.
Yeah, look at you.
And you don't need to smoke all those expensive cigars.
No.
Clearly.
No, I don't.
Just get the Xenos.
Yeah, just give them to us, and we'll stock you up with Xenos.
Connoisseur Corner's expanding.
You can keep
It's
your
repertoire.
bands. Just give us the cigars.
Hey, I have a box of QD54s if you want to buy them. They might be Xenos. They might not, but it's a full box.
And then
we done?
Senator goes the next day, and the first cigar he smokes obviously has to be a QD54. And then he posts it to everybody. I'm like, damn,
Oh,
please.
that's right.
You're diabolical, dude.
I'm hoping Rooster forgets it. There's no way he's gonna forget
the
this.
funny thing is, you won't believe me when I say this, but I swear to God that was a pure coincidence. And so
Sure.
no, I'm serious, because I sent this photo, and first, like Pagoda sent some funny response, and I was like, "Oh, that's funny," but I don't know why he said that. And then Pooba puts "ha ha" on the photo, and then once it was the two of them were the first response, I'm like, now I get it. I'm like, the irony that the first stick I'm lighting up the next day is a QD.
That was great.
That was unintentionally funny.
You know
It
what
worked
this
out.
tells me too? And for how much we love doing the podcast, we need to do more Lizard outings outside of the lounge
Indeed.
because this is great.
This is gold.
Yeah, this is fun.
Oh, yeah.
This is fun.
Yeah,
Sorry, Rooster,
lesson
but-
learned: never forget your cigars.
No, not with this group.
So, boys, we're a little bit beyond halfway here of the San Cristobal de la Habana Harimau Malaya Edición Regional. What are you guys thinking of this thing?
Pretty much the same.
Yeah, this is mediocrity at its finest.
Although
And I mean that quite literally. It's mediocre, but it's on the better end of that.
yeah, that's probably
Performance-wise?
a little harsh, because I agree with what Senator said. It has smoothed out, it's evened out, it's leveled out. It's okay.
But I think Giz is saying the same thing.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I
It's
actually
just-
really like that description.
Yeah.
Like, it's mediocre in that
Mm.
it lacks flavor. There's nothing interesting about it, but it's at its finest because it's at least delivering smoke smoothly.
And a good experience, performance wise.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean the ash, the burn line, the smoke output, the draw,
Yep.
the construction, everything's there. It's just the blend is not.
No.
You know, and that's what frustrates me about these, you know, Edición Regionals and the limited editions. I mean, listen,
This marca for what
or
we've
the
smoked so far.
market, of course. Yeah.
No, but you know, it might taste better after a roti canai, right? That's a Malaysian dish, by the way.
Oh yeah, I was about to go into Google Translate.
Well done. But you know, it's like if you think about it, and this is where it comes down to the question of chasing, as we discussed earlier, chasing, you know, ERs or ELs, right? It's like at the end of the day, this is the same tobacco plant with a slightly different blend. It's the same ingredients as every other cigar that comes out of Cuba. It's just a little bit different,
Blend.
blend a little bit different. It's changing the ingredients.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, there's nothing special about this tobacco. There's nothing interesting or different about it. The blend is clearly inferior to most regular production cigars we smoke out of Cuba. And then to throw that second band on it, to put it in a second box, to make it limited to 8,888 boxes, it's another example of a marketing exercise that Habanos has done here. That's just, it's not great. At all.
I'd be curious to see what the sales comparisons are between this entire marca and all the other marcas, where it stands.
I would think this is on the very, very low end.
It's a guess, but
Kind
honestly,
of like Quaba.
I don't know. Look, we were in Cuba. This band was everywhere.
Just
every
on
factory.
the walls.
Oh yeah,
They weren't rolling a lot of these.
no, that's true.
They were rolling a lot more Quabas than.
Yeah,
But I think
San
people.
That's true.
Cristobal's.
I think people chase those perfectos. I think people like that shape.
those
and,
are cool cigars.
And it's not, there's not a lot of perfectos out there that perform well. There's certainly not a lot out of Cuba in regular production. I think that's what that brand is known for. I mean, what do they have? 3 of them?
So I
2 of
had a very, very old Perfecto, a Kawaba, by Lizard Ryan up in Boston, sent it to me.
Yep.
As a bodyguard with the order that I placed. It was spectacular. It was
Really?
a tiny little cigar, but incredibly delicious.
Was it Distinguidos?
That's the big one that I have that I just finished. Salomon chip, but it's a little smaller. It's a Perfecto, yeah.
So I wonder if the regional, like this is made for the Malaysian market, do they kind of factor in the flavor profile of that region when they create a regional?
Well, the distribution or there's, maybe certain retailers in the market are involved in the blending decisions. So,
So somebody actually smoked this and
this
said,
is collaborative.
"Oh, yes, this is for the Malaysian
Oh, yes.
market."
I mean,
Like this is a collaborative effort, and that's like we've talked about before. Obviously, some of the cigars may end up in regular production after they're an LCDH that succeeds, or a regional edition that's relaunched in some other way. But this was collaborative with people outside of Tabacuba and Habanos S.A. that said, like, this is the right blend for what we're looking to do here.
Yeah. Strange.
Yeah, we need to sit down on the final approval process of the regionals.
Yeah, we need to go back.
I think they need to cancel the regional program. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
dude. I agree.
I don't want
completely.
any of them. I
agree.
truly, there's not one regional to me that's worth its price point.
But I'm gonna guess that they sell tremendously throughout Asia. They
It's
probably
it's
do.
marketing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a marketing exercise.
Mm-hmm.
And going back, to the question of, it's been over a year now since the prices went up. You look at how stuff has changed. You look at this, coming out at what, $280, $300 a box for 10. Now it's probably 500. You look at Havanas, where Cohiba is just sitting. Trinidad is having a real hell of a time, maybe outside the Fundadores, but I don't even think I've seen a 22, 23 box of Fundadores come up.
Nope.
So
No Colonialis, no Esmeralda, none of the Vigi. I haven't seen any of those.
I haven't seen
markers.
much Trinidad at all. And it's like, you look at a lot of the Cohiba that's been
Fundies have
sitting
come
around.
up. Fundies have come up.
You've seen some?
Yeah.
Where?
Ben's probably bought them.
Yeah, he probably has them.
Where have
He's
you
got
seen
more
that?
fundies than any of us.
On our group, I've seen them come up
Yeah?
2 or 3 times.
So 22s?
Yeah, they're young, I think. I didn't
Yeah.
check.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, I just wonder, is there a price correction coming on Cohiba and Trinidad?
I hope so.
Not across the lines,
I
but
hope so.
on some of this stuff that's sitting, like, you would think that they'd need to adjust, right?
Honestly, I need more Colonialis. I would love more of those.
The Trinidads.
Yes.
Now, are you willing to pay?
No.
What is that size?
It's
Petite
it's
Corona?
a Petite Corona. I think they're like over $28 a stick.
They're
or more
probably in
now.
the 30s now.
They are.
It's
The
outrageous.
price point on those is just stupid.
It's really stupid.
And listen, I get Fundadores and Esmeralda. I know Esmeralda. We're going to do those at some point on the podcast.
That's an awesome cigar.
That's a Robusto, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I understand people chasing those, but it's the same leaf as the Quaba or as the San Cris. It's just a different blend.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same shit
The blend matters. The blend matters.
for double or triple the price.
The Colonialis, I will say though, is disappointing because Bam loves that stick.
I do.
I think
do
Bam
too,
is how
actually. I
Yeah.
like the Colonialis.
Big time.
Oh no, I know.
Yeah.
He's definitely smoked more than any
How
of
much
us.
are you willing
Yeah.
to pay for a box of Colonialis?
Do you have a box?
Yeah, I have a few boxes.
I'll give you $18 a
Yeah,
stick.
they're the Zeno Petite
I'll give
Corona
you-
with Trinidad.
No,
band
they're
on
not. No, they're not. And that's what they should be. $18 a stick.
So, by the way, we did do the
Wait.
Colonialis on the pod, if you remember.
I
I
remember.
didn't until I looked.
Yeah.
Episode 26, it was an 8.8.
Fantastic
nine.
score.
Yeah. So that's, we do need to do more. But, I mean, at the current value of Trinidad, man, that's just tough.
But I just bring that cigar up because I tried it first from Bam. I could see why he loved that so much. It's a great cigar. And the thing that kills me is I would buy it and smoke it. It's just the price point it's not worth it at that ridiculous price for such a small cigar.
The word stupid is appropriate. It's perfect.
Do you think that they make a pricing adjustment to Trinidad? Or do you think that they just roll less moving forward to keep the price where it is, to create a situation in which the supply is meeting whatever demand, or maybe a little under, what the demand is out of Hong Kong or worldwide?
I don't think they're quite hurting yet.
No, they're certainly not hurting, but I think there's a lot of stuff sitting on the shelves, whereas, Monty 2s or D4s, Epi 2s, some of the other kind of mainline, injected in the Cuban smokers'
Cohiba
veins.
factory, I mean, can't make enough cigars to push out. So
Yeah.
they, that's not the problem. So maybe it's sitting on the shelves. It's like a lagging indicator, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, they'll have to see if they kind of don't. Right now they can't even produce enough, right?
Yeah.
What's
So,
interesting, like the cigars you
will
just
tell.
named are more, they're more substantial cigars. So when you see a box of Colonialis, it's going to turn you off with that price point. It's just not, it's not
But I think
reasonable.
that the problem I have with it is if you look at a Partagas D4, which is approaching $30 a cigar,
It's
right?
crazy.
You're probably going to be at $30 by the this time next year, I would think. Probably around 25 now. Okay. And you look at an Esmeralda from Trinidad,
Mhm.
which is probably what, double?
Yeah, it's probably
Two
like
and a half
50
time-
bucks.
Yeah, 50 bucks.
It's in the 50s.
So let's say it's 50 and 25 for this argument's sake. It's probably not terribly accurate, but for the listener, let's just make an assumption that a D4 is 25 bucks and an Esmeralda from Trinidad is 50. Is the Esmeralda giving you double the pleasure of a Partagas D4?
No.
Of course not.
Of course not.
No.
So that's where it's like, to me, Cohiba, I understand the Robusto being at 60, 70, 80 bucks because that's their, I'm not saying I pay that, but that being their kind of premier line.
Mhm.
It's rolled at Leguito, a lot more quality control, maybe not so much coming out. I kind of get it. But Trinidad, it makes no damn sense.
Yeah, why they selected that marca along with Cuba to name as
Cohiba.
I'm sorry, Eric,
Yeah.
as their premium luxury cigar and double, triple the price that they were makes no sense.
Makes no sense at all.
Why a Trinidad?
But do you think Habanos is willing to make a price correction in the market?
Not yet.
Yeah, but I wouldn't be
don't think
surprised.
they're-
Maybe next year, the prices may just come off. I was listening to something where they believe, to the excess cash has been dwindling. So, a lot of the guys, because of a lot of the government subsidies and so on and so forth, during the pandemic, were able to save a lot of money. And that money that was saved, that has been dwindling. And they expect that to be, somewhat depleted towards the end of the year, beginning of next year. And so it's interesting and that's why people are wondering whether a recession's coming. And if you would to consider the excess cash, where it goes to a lot of the luxury products, it'd be interesting to see what really transpires next year.
Yeah, the problem is it's not right now going to luxury products, right? Like it was during the pandemic, it was last year, but this year it's not. Like you look at luxury products, like the watch market has tanked.
Yeah.
It's
Really?
like now is actually a great time to buy like a high-end watch. It has tanked.
Yeah.
People are not pouring crazy amounts of money into watches like they were because people are kind of bracing for a potential recession. And I think you're seeing it with cigars where we're talking about a lot of the most expensive stuff is just sitting and readily available, but still at way too high of a price point. And people are just not willing to put that kind of cash into these
Yeah.
things right now.
Yeah. And the cost of living has gone up across the board.
Yeah.
And that's affecting,
Yeah, the
Everyone.
bottom line.
You know, the other side of it is the availability of a lot of these Cuban cigars has just increased in some of the websites we frequent.
Yeah,
that's true.
it's true. There's definitely a lot of stock at some of the gray market. There's no question about that. But then you hear that Europe, in the Habanos specialists, some of the stores, they have absolutely no stock. They don't even have Monty 4s.
That's weird.
They don't have D4s.
Strange.
They don't have Monty 2s. So it's a weird supply demand thing happening that I don't quite understand yet.
There should be no Cuban cigar other than Cohiba priced above $25 to $30.
I agree with that.
I
They
agree
should
with
all
you.
be under $25 to $30. Cohiba maybe $45, $50. That's it.
Maybe.
Not $100 for a Lancero or $300 for a
Behike.
55.
Yeah,
or
the Cohiba
Behike. I mean,
55.
that's insane.
Please.
It's insanity.
The only thing different about Behike, not that I'm validating their pricing strategy, but it's the only one that has the Medio Tiempo leaf in
This
it.
is true.
So that's the only.
Yeah, but
Figure
guess what?
Grow
Guess
some
what?
more Medio Tiempo.
Guess what?
Jeez.
No. Forget Grosso More Medio Tiempo. Guess what? It's always been the only cigar with Medio Tiempo,
This
and
is
it was
true.
never $300
This
to
is
have that
true.
experience.
That's right.
It was literally a third of that price.
It was less
just
than
like
that
a
even.
year ago or
Yeah.
2 years ago, and then obviously way before that, it was
In the 50s.
right.
Yeah. And it's just like, I think, like we're saying about Trinidad being kind of, piggybacking on the Cohiba, primary brand of Habanos, how Trinidad has become that, which is not a global brand.
Right.
It's not a global brand.
Yeah.
Is it a secondary or tertiary brand? Maybe, according to the historic Habanos releases. I mean, that didn't even come out till 1998.
Yeah.
As far as, being able to buy it in the retail chain. But to see those prices go as dramatically high as they have, it's such a reach. And I hope they sit, and I hope they make a correction, because
Agreed.
it's absolutely ridiculous. And I think it's all piggybacking on the Fundadores.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
That's
mean,
so stupid.
I think corrections obviously do, but sadly, if you just look at Cuba, I mean, this is a place where things don't change.
100%.
I cannot see them saying, you know what, maybe we made a mistake, or you know what, maybe we need to try something different. They're not going to do that.
And 10 times worse than Cuba are the Chinese,
Yeah.
who are willing to milk this whole thing for get as much blood out of the stone as they
Yeah,
can.
and is it a coincidence that once they took partnership into this, the prices started to go up?
Well, I mean, they've been in for a while. I think they've just gotten very desperate, and through COVID,
Yeah, but
wanted to make a price correction.
What's really sad is whether a Cohiba was $25 or whether it's $100, it does not trickle down to the local economy. The local people,
They do not
poverty
benefit from
still exists.
It never has.
If not,
It
it's
never
gotten worse.
Yeah, it never has.
It should be the other way around. Like, I don't
Yeah.
mind paying more for a certain cigar or most Cuban cigars if the money's going to the local people.
Yeah.
But it's not. They're still getting paid the same wages.
they're getting paid the same wages today
Mhm.
they were as 4 years ago.
Yeah.
And look at the inflation that's happened. And we've been to Cuba several times, and the inflation's hit them 10 times as hard because they have no access
Right.
to real money.
Right.
I mean, the Cuban peso is effectively monopoly money down there. I mean, the
Oh,
inflation has hit them
You've
so
got
much harder.
A stack of cash for a cup of coffee.
Yeah.
I mean,
not effectively, literally.
literally, it's monopoly money.
I've told people, like, I mean, I feel bad saying this, but it just for a little humor, honestly, the first time we went to Cuba, it just, for me, I joked that it felt like what it must feel like to be a billionaire in America.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, you're totally right.
It's
Honestly.
so true. It's true.
I mean, just when you're in Cuba, it's like you have this like incredible meal and you're just stacking dollars like the friggin' Eiffel Tower on a table that you're at.
and they're pennies.
And you're like, oh, how much was that actually in US? Oh, it was $30 a person. You're like, what?
Yeah.
I know.
For like a giant ribeye and a
Oh,
great
yeah.
bottle of wine and all this stuff. You're like, 30-something bucks a person.
Crazy.
That's nuts. You can't get an entree at a nice restaurant for $30 here anymore.
Yeah.
You spend more at Burger King.
Oh,
I do. 100%.
Yeah.
Crazy.
It's a real tragedy. And to your point, it's like the fact that we've seen Habanos raise these prices like they have, and it not in any way, in any material way, really impact the people who are making the cigars
Mhm.
is a real travesty.
Yeah.
You
I
know?
remember in our former lounge, I was sitting with Rooster. I think it was just the two of us in the lounge at the time. pulled out a box of Bahiques that he got from someone up north. Remember that? He handed me one. I smoked it. It was incredible. I asked him, how much is a cigar? I was floored at the time. He said it was $55, and I couldn't believe how expensive that was.
Gizmo, are you hearing this? We got cut out.
No, this was 6 years
I
ago.
wasn't involved in this.
You guys were not members yet.
I don't think
That, you know what? That's not an excuse. You should have held a couple.
Held
for
a
us.
couple.
You probably were not born yet.
It just goes to show
That
how
very well may be true.
just going back to the price increase, just tremendous. How when you look back, it's just.
Do you know something?
Yeah.
The one I gave you, that was a Zeno.
F you.
This is going to be one of those things
boy.
forever now.
It's never gonna die.
Good retort, by the way.
Not if I can help it.
Oh my lord, we've been Zeno'd.
Yeah, that Bahique was good, right? That was like from the initial, like the early days.
2012,
It was
2010.
really incredible, honestly.
Yeah, it must be later. I would say maybe 2016, 17, maybe. No,
Yeah. I don't remember the age.
15, 16.
It was 6 years ago, roughly.
Yeah.
And those cigar, when you have a great cigar, it leaves an imprint.
Of course.
And that's what I love about what we're doing.
Yeah.
Love that.
Like, how many cigars have we had here that's like, I can recall every aspect
Yeah.
of that experience of a great cigar. It's like, it happens rarely that it's that memorable, but when it does, man, you chase it
And you won't ever forget it.
and you won't forget it.
Yeah.
I remember everything about those moments.
Agreed.
What we talked about, how
Mhm.
it went, what it tasted like, what
Yeah.
we paired it with.
Yeah.
It's like such an imprint on your mind.
Yeah, for some, because I can forget a lot of things.
He wants to forget one thing right now.
And I'm ready to forget quite a few moments.
I won't let you.
I think it's been imprinted there. Oh my lord.
So, boys, we're in the last third here of the San Cristobal de la Habana Harimau Malaya. What are you guys thinking?
You're doing great with the pronunciation.
I practiced, by the way.
awesome.
I'm tired of the
I am
pronunciation.
shocked.
Big time.
The
Love it.
pronunciation shit. I'm over it because I'm gonna need
You're
to leave.
over it.
In the intro when I record the intro to this, I mean it's gonna be like half of the intro is saying the name of the cigar.
It's true.
Thank God the Courvoisier is only a VSOP, but
Yeah.
What are you guys thinking?
Are you using Babbel? Just to
I am using Babbel to learn Spanish, by the way.
Nice.
Yeah,
I'm
Well,
actually
yeah.
surprised that Pagoda's got a decent amount of cigar left. I blew through mine.
You did?
Yeah.
I think his though has been having some burn issues. It looks like.
Maybe.
It's sad, but listen, it's been reasonably pleasant.
Yeah. It's
It's just another stick. I don't think it's worth 30.
no. It's not an unreasonable.
Is it
cigar.
worth 8 though?
Well,
I don't
yeah.
know.
I think
Eight.
it's worth the Zeno price.
Well, $8.
This cigar for $8 to me, still the flavor
It's
is
not,
not
memorable.
great.
Yeah, and none of us will pursue this.
Like,
Yeah,
nobody.
I mean, to Gizmo's point, we have literally reviewed $7 New World sticks like that Maestro del Tiempo.
the
the
Warped.
5205.
Has way more flavor.
or the Warp cigar,
Yeah.
among many others that were
Yeah.
very reasonably priced. Incredible, unforgettable.
I would pay
experience.
$20 for that warped cigar any day.
right now.
Any day.
I have a box for you. No, but that's a great point.
It's
I mean,
true.
it's a good cigar. I mean, it's like,
Yeah.
I don't know if this is worth $8.
Yeah.
I certainly wouldn't chase it.
It's a shame.
And it is because it's like, if you're a retailer in Malaysia, you want a cigar that's like, wow, this is really something that celebrates our heritage, and they have all these stories and
Mhm.
this tiger, and they made this special number of boxes that's it's
Yeah.
lucky in China.
Yep.
It's like, I don't know.
I'm actually very glad that Giz said that. When you said $8, I'm like, ooh, that's a bit harsh.
you know
but
why I
it's-
said $8, right?
Yeah.
lucky number,
Look at
lucky
this guy
number.
connecting the dots.
but I will say it's very useful because when I sat here and thought about it, truly, if this stick were $8, would I buy it? Absolutely
It changes
not.
nothing.
Yeah.
right. It's true.
He's completely spot on.
It's true.
Yeah, and I don't like the size. I don't like a 55.
Mhm.
It's like across the board.
I don't mind the size.
Neither do I. Yeah.
If
It's
it
just
has flavor, it's got,
the experience.
I don't
It's the
yeah. I
experience
agree.
that matters.
I
Yeah.
agree. The size I thought would bother me. It does not.
Mm.
And the only thing I've enjoyed about this cigar, the smoke output's been great all the way through. Like
Yeah.
this is a good like a small chimney, not like an E2 chimney,
It's
but
true.
it's like a small chimney. It's got just enough smoke.
Which you want from a 55 ring gauge cigar. You want smoke out of a 55 ring
Yeah.
gauge
Yeah,
cigar.
yeah, yeah.
I mean, You expect it. And fortunately for the cigar, the merit here, like we said, is the construction, the burn, and the smoke output. It's just the flavor's mediocre.
Yep. Now, we'll take another glass of that Courvoisier.
I know. Do we have more Courvoisier?
We do.
Wow.
This is tremendous.
Thank you. Ben, can
Senator,
you pour me?
Yes, sir. You got it. Of course.
buckle up. If you told me, I'm going to say something crazy. If you told me this was Courvoisier XO, I wouldn't blink.
That's a great
I
point.
wouldn't blink. Like, that is really, I think, the best VSOP we've had.
And the price point is
For
incredible.
$45? It's quite honestly the opposite of the cigar in every way.
Yeah.
The price, the delivery, the flavor.
It's a little bit more than one cigar.
Yeah.
Or at the current price, one cigar.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Exactly. Are you guys ready to do the formal liquor rating on the Courvoisier
Yeah.
VSOP?
Yeah.
All right, Bam, you're up.
10.
No.
Yeah.
Wow, look at this.
Look,
wow, what a
listen,
start. He
listen.
didn't even hesitate.
No
None.
hesitation. $45. First of all, there's a little bit of history with my dad and so on, but honestly, I've never tried this until now. So my first time having this. Senator, you've had this, I know.
I have.
Look, it's rich, it's satisfying, it's got incredible legs, there's great viscosity to it. It's a 10.
So I know we're
For the
interrupting.
price.
I'm interrupting, but was Courvoisier VSOP, was that your dad's
Yeah.
cognac?
Yeah.
He went for the VSOP.
He did, yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. 10.
He had good taste buds, Bam.
Damn good taste.
Impressive.
Yeah.
All right. Pagoda.
Yeah, you don't even need taste buds. It tastes so good.
It is. It's excellent.
Yeah, so I'll go for a 10 as well.
Wow.
Ah, man.
Considering the price point and
All the factors are checking the boxes here.
Senator.
He's doing some research before he rates.
No, the thing I'm looking for, honestly, what I just can't figure out. I've had this before with my dad, and
It's different.
this is richer than I remember it. I remember this being lighter. And so I'm at least looking the whole packaging and bottling redesign that happened in early 2022 last year.
Oh, wow. Recent.
Yeah. And they did it across the whole line. But I'm not seeing anything that they changed the blend.
Interesting.
I did not remember it being this spectacular for the price. I'm between a 9 and a 10. That's what I'm trying to figure out here.
Happy with either.
I thought Ben was a little wild going for a 10, but the reason I actually think I'm going to be there with him, I can't find anything wrong with this. I really can't. I'm sitting here like, what would preclude it from a 10? The flavor is excellent. It is robust, but smooth. You get a bunch of different notes in this. There's even like a little floral element to
That's
this.
true. A touch of honey.
Yeah.
And what's interesting, what may knock it down for some people, possibly, my very, very first sip, it had a tiny bit of bite.
Yep.
But as I said earlier, this improves as you drink it. And that for me is a great mark of a spirit as it gets better and better as you drink.
no, but none of us even reached for typify. So
No.
for
I didn't even
45
think
bucks,
about it.
Yeah, we didn't even think about
I didn't
it.
even think about it.
No.
And then you factor in the price point. I mean, I almost laughed when I saw it was $46. This does not drink like a $46 spirit.
It's insane.
There's not a single...
To me, it drinks like an $86 spirit.
I agree.
88.
100% good.
88.
88. So I think for all these reasons, I can't knock this down. I'm going to give it a 10.
There you go.
So
Wow.
I thought I was going to, before we rated, I thought I was going to be the only 10. Obviously, we all were in the same place.
Wow.
To me, this is the best VSOP we've had. I would argue, for a value standpoint, this edges out 1738 for me.
From the point of
I
view of
agree.
value,
For
yes.
value,
I agree.
You can get 2 bottles of these.
you could. And it's like, if this were $70, I think it would be kind of in line with
Yeah.
1738. But at $45, I
It's
mean, you just
unbeatable.
cannot beat that.
It's unbeatable.
So the formal liquor rating, boys, is a 10.0.
Spectacular.
That is the best VSOP we've had. Very nice. Well done,
Well
Courvoisier.
done, gents.
And I got to say, clearly Napoleon, for all of his flaws, had some good taste.
And a lot of the rappers that are always mentioning this in their songs.
That's true.
Oh, so I saw a funny stat. When that song came out, Courvoisier's sales increased 30% that year.
Wow.
Is that right? Wow.
Just from that song.
That's cool.
All right, so let's look at some of the other VSOPs we've done. The Martell VSOP was an 8.4. The H by Hein did not perform well, was a 6.8.
That's the taller bottle, yeah?
The
That's
other,
their like budget version.
Yeah,
Which
yeah.
ironically is at around the same price point as this.
Think about
that's
that.
crazy. The other VSOP from Hein was the Rare, which got a 9.0. And then the 1738, which is not a VSOP, was a 9.3. And then I believe the first VSOP we did on the pod was the Remy Martin, was an 8.4. So
Yeah.
this outperformed all of them.
You know, a 9.3 for that 1738, the reason behind it for me is the flavor. It was just delicious, easy to drink, and you can go through half a bottle at a sitting. It was just so tasty.
Yeah.
Better
Yeah.
than this?
No. This is better.
I think this is better when you factor in
better.
value. I mean, you have to
When you
factor
factor in
that
the price,
It's
is.
crazy.
Because
No,
of keeping
keeping the price apart aside.
I
Well,
enjoy
that's the thing.
So for me, this has more viscosity than that spirit does. For me personally,
Than 1738.
yeah, it's more satisfying.
I think that's true.
I agree.
To me, they're neck and neck. If they were the
It's
same
true.
price point
Yeah.
and we were doing whole numbers, I'd probably have to give each a 9. But if we were doing decimals, I might give this a very slight edge. But with this price point, it's definitely leaps and bounds above.
It's unbeatable.
Yeah, this is excellent.
It's crazy.
Excellent.
Now, I'm going to say this now because this is always the case in spirits, wine, doesn't matter what it is. Every time you find something at a really, really good price point
It's gonna go up.
and you start telling people how great it is, and they start telling people and they try it how great. This happens with, like, here's my case study. Paul Roger. Paul Roger that champagne has always been priced lower than Veuve Clicquot. Not because it's inferior. I think it's way better than Veuve Clicquot.
It is.
Because Veuve is marketed much better, and people just associate that as like, if you're going to drink good champagne, you have the yellow label, the Veuve Clicquot. Paul Rocher doesn't spend marketing dollars like they do. You're never going to see Paul Rocher ads. That's not how they operate. And Paul Rocher, as a result, was significantly cheaper. You used to be able to get Paul Rocher for like $38, $40.
Wow.
Where
Wow.
Veuve was minimum 50, now it's like 55. Paul Rocher, I mean, I'm only doing my part. There are, I'm sure,
It's your
tons of other
fault.
people that
We're going to blame you.
It's your fault.
but this happens with everything. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not exaggerating. Everything. I think of like good, accessibly priced wines that I have found, and they're so cheap, and I'm not buying in bulk. I'm thinking they're going to stay there. And then a year later, I'm like, holy shit, they increased it by like, 40%. Like, how does this happen? I guarantee that with time, this is going to jump up. There's
Wow.
no doubt about it. So I would just suggest that people stock up while it's at this
I
price
also
point.
suggest do not release this recording.
Until we all buy a couple
That's
cases.
right.
All right, boys, you ready to do the formal lizard rating on tonight's cigar? The San Cristobal de la Habana Harimau Malaya Edición Regional. I mean, the name is ridiculous.
But you're doing a great job.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, Bam.
Yeah, and
Do they make other regionals for Malaysia?
For Malaysia, I don't know.
Sorry,
I know
thought
what-
you
I know
meant
what-
generally.
So I know what to avoid.
Are you reiterating the question?
Just have roti canai before.
No,
I like roti canai.
It's excellent. It's good.
I don't know if there's been other Malaysian or Malaya regionals, but yeah, this is the only one I'm aware of. I'm sure there were more, but I'm not sure.
Okay, so I'm at a 6 on this.
No hesitation.
None.
All right, Senator.
I'm at a 5.
Ooh.
I'm at a 6 for sure. Pagoda
I'm at a 6.
and Bam.
Yeah, I think 6 is a fair score. I have been between a 5 and a 6. It finished pretty smooth. I can't say that it was an awful cigar. A 5 like that La Punta, that's an awful cigar.
I hope I gave La Punta lower than a 5.
You did. I think you gave it a 4 if I remember correctly.
Do we have my rating?
Let's look that up.
Did I give it a 3?
So the formal lizard rating on the San Cristobal de la Habana Harimau Malaya Edición Regional Malaysia is a 5.8.
Oh, wait a minute. I think the La Punta got a 5.6.
5.9.
5. What?
Yeah.
No, something's wrong.
Yeah.
We
So
we messed up tonight.
So the La Punta, Rooster, Puba, Senator, Grinder,
6.
and Bam all gave it 6s. I gave it a 5.
Wow.
Ended up at a 5.8. 5.9. Tonight is a 5.8.
This is better than a La
So
Punta.
here's the only thing where maybe
What?
that might work. the price point on it. That my only
Yeah,
issue.
I was. That's exactly where I was going. Is the value thing is a
because
problem?
honestly, as you guys were giving it 6s, my only gripe, I think we probably feel the exact same way about flavor, but to me, it is absolutely laughable and ridiculous that this was $30. Now it's $40, $50.
Yeah.
So like to me,
You know what?
It disqualifies it from a 6 because the value is so extraordinarily poor that I have to ding it for that.
Makes total sense.
Well, that I was going to say that because I rated the La Punta a 5. I really hated that cigar, as you remember.
Yeah,
but that was a $20 cigar.
yeah.
Well, arguably less than half right now.
Right.
But I'm sure it's gone up by now. Like this thing has. I mean, I didn't know this thing was up to $50.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's crazy.
And we rated the La Punta for what it was and what it cost at the time. I think Senator,
Which was 20, right?
Yeah, it was 25 maybe.
Yeah,
20,
I think it makes sense, and I think as I think about it, it makes sense that it's below the La Punta because it's so outrageously priced. Makes sense.
And I think that that's where the lizard rating works, right? Like the value absolutely came in.
It's so fucking true.
I hated that cigar more
true.
than I think anybody in the room. I hate that cigar.
Oh
but
no, I think we were. Well, how I gave it a 6. I
you
don't know
gave
what
it
I
a
was
6. You
drinking
must have
that
been in
day.
a good mood.
I was in a way too good of a mood because I hate it. I mean, I still joke all the time about that cigar. That's one of the worst cigars I've had. Cuban cigars.
Actually, by the way, that was one of the tequila episodes where Chef Ricky was with us. He also gave it a 5 alongside me.
That's why
Everybody
I was
else gave it
generous.
6s.
we must have tried God knows how many tequilas that night.
That's true.
Plus Ricky's presence alone, I gave it an extra point.
True.
Yeah.
True. It's a good rating tonight, actually.
It is. It's
Makes sense.
It's just the problem is the price, right? We can go back to that all day, but I will never think about this cigar again.
I want to reframe our takeaway here. The problem is not the price with this stick. Giz said it best when you said if it were $8, would you buy it? I wouldn't smoke this at $8. So the problem is the cigar.
Yeah, it checks no boxes.
And I don't see, this is not a cigar that I didn't enjoy because of its, its character, its merit, where I can see other cigar smokers saying, you know what, I really enjoyed this because it was so
It was lack off.
absent of interest. Like there was nothing interesting about it.
Right.
Even if there was something there I didn't like, I don't see anyone saying, you know what, I really love the flavor profile of that San Cristobal, regional. It's just,
Right.
there's nothing there to like. There's nothing there.
I know.
What are we doing?
We're going to need t-shirts that say, what are we doing?
What are we doing?
I say that a lot around here. All right, boys. Well, an excellent night on the pairing for sure. The Courvoisier VSOP at a 10.0. Certainly the best VSOP I've had and we've had on the podcast. No
Great
doubt
recommend, Senator. That saved the evening.
about that. It did.
It
It did.
It definitely
It
did.
did.
Oh, yeah.
And a 5.8 on the San Cristobal de la Habana Harimau Malaya Edición Regional from Malaysia. I apologize to the Malaysian people that Habanos thought that this was an acceptable release for your country. If I'm Malaysian, I'm offended.
But can't you say that about a lot of regionals?
Yeah, this one's
Yeah.
on the bottom end, though.
That's true.
We've done some others. This one's on the bottom end. Nevertheless, boys, a great night, a great pairing with the Courvoisier. Great conversation, and we'll see y'all next week. Hope you enjoyed this episode. Thanks for joining us. You can find our merch store and ratings archive at our brand new website, loungelizardspod.com. That's loungelizardspod.com. Don't forget to leave us a rating and subscribe on your favorite podcast platform. If you have any comments, questions, if you want to reach out, say hello, tell us what you're smoking, email us, hello@loungelizardspod.com. You can also find us on Instagram @loungelizardspod. We really appreciate your time, and we'll see you next week.